You know Aladin?
Very famously. Everybody knows it.
Can you fly me to Bora Bora? So he's the founder of Smart Academy. Smart Academy has a big vision. And the vision of Smart Academy is to be one of the top best organizations in the world in terms of development, scientific research and attracting scientific cadre. So think big but start small. What does that mean? What is this vision?
It means have a big vision for the future, but use... Oh, sorry.
It means have a big vision. Really big vision. But be careful and use the available resources, which we don't have at the moment, but we're trying to improve. But use the available resources. We do have a great resources here, which is our human resources, the people, the human beings who are willing and aspiring to have something, to put their fingerprints in the process of integration. So we are here, we would like to help them as much as we can and to work together to achieve this vision.
Perfect.
And it's, we started with, I mean, it's really surprising when I started Smart Academy and I put the announcement and I said, who would like to be a member? We started with 100 people, but we end up in less than 6 months with 800 members.
Wow. This deserves a round of applause.
So hopefully we can achieve it.
Please talk about Smart Academy.
Okay, before I talk about Smart Academy, there is a tactic. The best way of defense is to attack.
No, the best way of defense is defense.
So I would, in this case, I would like to raise a question to you. What is the difference between heroes of war and heroes of peace? Who can give me the answer in one word?
Heroes of
wars and heroes of peace.
Heroes of peace make...
They are both are heroes. Both they make a victory.
One
Both.
dies, one lives. The other one lives. One dies in the war, the other one lives.
Exactly. Both live. The heroes normally live. Okay. But the problem, yes, you are close. The enemies and the heroes of wars, they make people die. They have victims. And we can see this exactly in what's happening now in Syria, in my country. And you can see, I really love, I mean, there was a word, a quote, somebody was saying, the crisis in Europe is not the crisis of refugees. The crisis is the crisis of war back home in Syria, and this is what we should focus on. So here, what I would like to stress, that heroes of peace are the great people. They do make a victory, but even without victims. Victory without victims. Victory with sustainable development. Victory with growth. Victory with love. And here I would like to raise a big hand to Peter for this initiative, and I would like to send my application to be an ambassador of peace. If you would accept me, you know, without an interview. And I would like to thank my friend and my teacher, Leo Gabriel, really for introducing me to Peter. It was a good story, and I hope it will move on. Now, I would like to start about, I mean, Smart Academy was a dream, really. And I would like here to quote David for when he said, everybody can be active. Everybody should be active. And really, that what your word has touched me in the heart. Because that was my situation in the year 2014 or 2013. When I was reading the newspapers to practice my Deutsch, of course, and every day I'm reading in the newspaper a lot of news. Whenever somebody, an Auslander they call it, or
Ausländerinnen.
okay, or
To correct, please.
if he does a mistake, it's focused, magnified, and big worries coming up in the newspaper. So the media was building bridges. Walls, sorry. The media was building walls, and it was really high walls of illusion. Then I said, how can I contribute to building bridges? Then I started with reading about the vision about Austria, and then I was surprised, or I came to know that Vienna has a wonderful strategy 2050, to be one of the best or the smartest city of Europe. Vienna to be the city of scientific research and innovation. And then, at the same time, I was reading about the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the 17th Sustainable Development Goals. And there is the last two of them, the 16 and the 17th. The 16 says, peace and justice. Peace, justice, and strong organizations, strong institutions. And the 17th is working, cooperating to achieve those goals. So I said, okay, then here comes the Stichwörter. Peace, sustainability, justice, smart city. So to achieve this, you need smart citizens, you need smart people. Because any strategy, there is statistics that 80% of strategies fail and only 20% succeed. Because they lack the people to believe in. Only when people buy in the strategy, then the strategy is successful. So from there on, I thought, how can I do something? And I know my people, the people who came from Syria, from Iraq. They are smart people. They have very high qualification, and I think most of you have read the statistics by IMS. How can we change, or how can we make those people resources instead of fears and worries in the newspapers? How can we say that those people are resources for the future, are the elements to make the strategy of Vienna a winning strategy? Then we established the academy, Smart Academy, to promote the culture of excellence, to promote the culture of development, of improvement, to help the people. And we started actually functioning in August 2016. We started our first meeting, and then we started our outreach campaign. We started telling the people what is our plan. We have then made Vision 2025. In 2025, we would move our people from social Hilfenehmer, people getting the money from the social, into people who would pay Steuer, or taxes. And then that is the first phase. The next phase is to be in 2025 applying the standard, the excellence standards of European Forum for Quality Management in Brussels. We have worked on this actually model in several countries. For example, my last project in between 2008 and 2012 was to turn the government from traditional government into modern government, from e-government to smart government. And then we could take such kind of examples, this model, and we implemented. We started gradually, and we made actually SWOT analysis. We started with a group of lawyers. That was the first and pilot project for Smart Academy. We did SWOT analysis, and we have seen what are the problems. We made a study based on the meetings and the different gap analysis and so on. And we started to have a training program for them in cooperation with lawyers here. Some of them are students at the university, some of them are lawyers who are practicing, and they were really kind enough to give us some of their time. They used to take the people and give them the terminology of law, and then later on we made some visits to the courts. The last one was with in the Strafe Gazette, and I would like really to praise my friend and my colleague Abdullah. Please raise your hand. He's the head of the legal section, who really worked with me hand in hand to make this program achievable. Now the next one was to create more initiatives. For example, we in cooperation with OAF, we had the ADV training program. The people who are new here, maybe they know computer, they have knowledge about computer, but they don't know it in German. So we help them to do that. The next one is the cultural dialogue. During my meeting with many Austrian friends, they told me they have a kind of concerns. They have a big mass that's coming here in this country, but they do not know their traditions. Then we have agreed, to make a program for them. My friend is the head of ÖAS, Österreichische Arbeitsgemeinschaft für systematische Therapie, and Familie Neu, to make a program so that families, Austrian families and Syrian families sit together, do role play. They know each other, they understand their problems, and so on. And it will be a kind of workshop format where we can mediate these workshops and understand each other. We had also Spaß an Deutsch und Bewegung. That was a program we have made with our Austrian friends to change the traditional learning class into a virtual class. We have started this program 4 months ago, where a group of participants go with Austrian people in the city. For example, important places, the teacher would prepare information about the place, and they would read it in advance, then they would ask questions. Also, we have so many information avenues, because actually the legal section has started what is called Smart Anwalt Facebook site, where everybody has questions. They do not have access to information. They can ask information, and the lawyers would answer such questions. Okay, so we have felt there is very strong need for information, a clarity of information. So we decided to have info abends. We started with a big one in collaboration with our friends, lawyer friends, and then we have answered those questions. So that's a summary of our activities. Of course, we have more ambitious plans. It depends on the resources. The more resources we have, the more programs we can launch. We have programs in the radar, but we cannot launch them. Now, finally, I would like to end my speech. Sorry for taking longer than my time. Okay, thank you. Ismail has said a very important word. He said, people tend to divide our world into black and white. But between them, there is a spectrum. There is ultraviolet, there is infrared, there is brown, orange, and so on. So our world is really beautiful if when we make it colorful. And thanks Ismail for mentioning this. The second thing also from Ismail, life, he said life is short, so I would like to complete his quote, let's live it smart. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aladin. One question is, how did you connect the dots? When you founded the Smart Academy, you said that it was a dream. How did you connect the dots with the SDGs, with the vision of the city of Vienna? How did you come to this idea?
Okay, it's normally known that a dream remains a dream until you set objectives, until you make moves, until you make plans. And actually, we had this dream and we changed this into smart objectives. So we took the Smart Academy. Sorry, I would like to show you the presentation about our strategy and Vision 2025. However, we had our strategy is based into action plans. So, for example, and this is what is the principle of smart objectives. Smart objective is S from specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and timely.
Oh, this is from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Sorry?
This is from the book Rich Dad Poor Dad?
Well, it's from book, and it's actually it's one of the management principles, you know, and it's not very new. It's a very old one, you know, which is management by objectives, because it is well known that what cannot be measured cannot be managed. So to be able to manage to manage your job and your program very well, it should be measured and relevant and timely. So we took Vienna 2050 strategy, okay, and we cascade from the Vienna strategy into Smart Academy, and we put our own smart objective based on that, so that we can help first to build our capabilities, because if we cannot build our house well, we cannot contribute. Then this is why in December 2016 we held workshops, strategic planning workshops and performance management workshops, and we introduced to our people how to operate based on a performance management model, not just randomly. So, and what is the performance management? How can you, for example, every year, the performance cycle every year, where you start in January, February, you put your own smart objectives, and then you move on until the first quarter, where you can and you can do mentoring and follow-up coaching for the people, okay, and then until the end of the year, where you can start assessing your objectives, how they were achieved, based on the smart format, where people can be objective rather than subjective. When I want to judge you, okay, I cannot just go and say, wow, you are a wonderful employee. Or if I don't like you, I say, you are a bad employee. Okay, based on what? Then I should have KPIs, key performance index, where I can judge your performance. Even if I like you or I don't like you, what you perform will be your judgment, will be your assessment, to ensure that you receive fair treatment, fair assessment, fair appraisal at the end of the performance year. So we wanted to train our staff, our Smart Academy staff, so that the next step will be to transfer this knowledge maybe to our partners. And finally, I mean, I would like to say, again, I feel myself always obliged to go back to Ismail. Really, I have a very respect to this person. I mean, he inspires me a lot. Ismail said knowledge. Knowledge is strong. Knowledge is powerful. It's true. But how can we make this efficient, effective, with a strong impact on our organizations, on our society? There should be a knowledge management. Knowledge management is quite a very wide range, where we can collect information, store information, and distribute information. And by the way, this by itself requires a whole lecture. What is the difference between information and knowledge? Information is I know about something, okay? But knowledge is I know it. So I can read about the mango in the internet, okay? I have an information about it. But when I eat the mango and it start, coming here, then I know what it tastes. And it's the same thing. The information about a new society coming here, then we go back to our team, okay? If we just get information about the Syrians and the new community, we can't have bridges. But if we know them, if we get to know them well, then we can have bridges. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Aladin, you are an inspiring example how someone can use the resources in Vienna and create something called Smart Academy. Good, now we open question to the audience. Please, I want you to stay true to your most real, most sincere, most authentic part of you. Ask whatever you want. We want a dynamic discussion.